Some names echo in eternity. They represent more than just a person. They represent an idea, a philosophy, a relentless pursuit of greatness. In the world of sports and far beyond, one such name is Kobe Bryant. Welcome to Legacy, the podcast that explores the lives and impact of the world's most iconic figures. Today, we delve into the story of the Black Mamba, a man whose work ethic and competitive fire redefined what it means to be a champion. This isn't just a story about basketball, it's a story about obsession, resilience, and the art of becoming legendary. To understand Kobe Bryant, you have to go back to the beginning, not to Philadelphia, where he was born, but to Italy. His father, Joe Jellybean Bryant, a former NBA player, moved the family there to continue his basketball career. It was in Italy that a young Kobe learned the fundamentals of the game, not with the flash of American playgrounds, but with the technical precision of European basketball. Life in Italy was more than just a backdrop. It was a crucible. While his father played professionally, Kobe was a student of the game in its purest form. He wasn't just playing, he was studying the geometry of the court, the rhythm of the game, and the importance of footwork. He would spend hours with his father after practices, breaking down plays, learning the nuances that separated good players from great ones. This European basketball education gave him a sophisticated understanding of the game that many of his American peers lacked. This unique upbringing also fostered a sense of independence and isolation. He poured himself into basketball, not just as a passion, but as a companion. It was his way of connecting, of proving himself. When he returned to the U.S., this quiet confidence, honed in Italian gyms, was often mistaken for arrogance. He wasn't just better than everyone else, he knew why he was better. He was an outsider, an American kid in a foreign land. He learned to speak fluent Italian, but his true language was basketball. He studied tapes of NBA games his grandfather would send him, dissecting every move of his idol, Michael Jordan. He wasn't just watching, he was learning, preparing. At Lower Merion, he became a legend. He did everything for his team, playing every position, from point guard to center. His senior year was a masterclass in domination. He averaged over 30 points, 12 rebounds, and 4 assists, leading the Aces to a 31-3 record and the state title. But it wasn't just the stats, it was how he played. He had a killer instinct that was rare for a player his age, a hunger to win that bordered on obsessive. This drive, this Mamba mentality, was already taking shape. The decision to declare for the NBA draft was a monumental gamble. At the time, it was highly unusual for a guard to make the leap directly from high school to the pros. The league was dominated by seasoned veterans, and the physical and mental demands were immense. Many scouts and analysts questioned his readiness, viewing his confidence as youthful naivete. But Kobe had a clear vision for his future, and he was unwilling to delay his dream. His announcement was a statement of intent. He believed he was ready to compete with the best in the world, and he was eager to prove it. When the family returned to the United States, Kobe enrolled at Lower Merion High School in Ardmore, Pennsylvania. He arrived as a skinny kid with an Italian accent, but he left as a national sensation. He led his team, a perennial underdog, to a state championship in his senior year, breaking records and dropping jaws along the way. His talent was undeniable, but it was his confidence that was truly shocking. In 1996, at just 17 years old, he made a decision that sent ripples through the basketball world. In his high school gym, surrounded by cameras, he announced he was foregoing college and taking his talents directly to the NBA. Drafted 13th overall by the Charlotte Hornets and immediately traded to the Los Angeles Lakers, Kobe arrived in a league of men. He was brash, arrogant in the eyes of many, but it was a self-belief forged in thousands of hours of unseen work. His rookie season was a learning curve, famously ending with 4 airballs in a crucial playoff game against the Utah Jazz. The airball incident became a defining moment in the Kobe Bryant legend. It was a public failure that could have shattered a young player's confidence. But for Kobe, it was a lesson etched in fire. He realized that talent alone wasn't enough. He needed to be stronger, more resilient, and mentally tougher than everyone else. This relentless drive to overcome setbacks became a hallmark of his career. The airball incident became a defining moment, a crossroads that revealed the depths of his competitive psyche. While his teammates went home, Kobe, still in his full uniform, went to a local high school gym with two Lakers staffers. He spent the next several hours shooting. He shot in the dark, with the gym lights off, focusing on the rim, burning the failure into his muscle memory so it would never happen again. This wasn't just about practice. It was a ritual of exorcism and rebirth. It was the moment he fully understood that to control the outcome, he had to control himself, and that meant outworking everyone, always. The Lakers front office, led by the legendary Jerry West, saw something special in Kobe. West was so convinced of Bryant's potential that he traded his starting center, Vlade Divac, to the Hornets for the draft rights to the 17-year-old from Lower Merion. It was a gamble, a move that was heavily scrutinized at the time, but one that would alter the course of basketball history. The pressure on Kobe was immense. He was not just a rookie, but the centerpiece of a franchise-altering trade. The criticism was relentless. Pundits and former players questioned his leadership, his shot selection, and his ability to make his teammates better. They called him selfish, a ball hog, a player who cared more about his own stats than about winning. For any other player, this constant barrage of negativity would have been demoralizing. For Kobe, it was ammunition. He used the doubts of others to fuel his own internal fire, to push himself to even greater heights. He was determined to prove everyone wrong, to show the world that he could win on his own terms. For others, it would have been a moment of crushing defeat. For Kobe, it was fuel. He went straight to a local gym that night and shot jumpers until the sun came up. He vowed to never let that feeling of failure define him. That moment was the genesis of the Mamba. The Lakers' three-peat was a spectacle of dominance, but it was also a masterclass in chemistry and coaching. Under Phil Jackson's triangle offense, Kobe and Shaq were the undeniable focal points, but the team's success was built on a foundation of veteran leadership and role players who embraced their parts. Players like Derek Fisher, a tough-as-nails point guard with a knack for hitting big shots, Rick Fox, the versatile and cerebral forward, and Robert Horry, Big Shot Rob, whose clutch shooting became the stuff of legend. They were the essential connective tissue that held the team together. The arrival of coach Phil Jackson and the continued dominance of Shaquille O'Neal set the stage for a dynasty. Kobe and Shaq were an unstoppable, if volatile, duo, two alpha predators in the same jungle. Their partnership was a clash of personalities and work ethics, but on the core, it was pure magic. From 2000 to 2002, the Lakers were untouchable. They captured 3 consecutive NBA championships. Kobe, no longer just a high-flying teenager, had evolved into one of the league's best all-around players. He was an elite scorer, a lockdown defender, and a stone-cold killer in the clutch. But 3 titles weren't enough. Kobe didn't just want to be part of a dynasty, he wanted to be the architect of one. The friction with Shaq grew, culminating in O'Neal's trade to the Miami Heat in 2004. Suddenly, the Lakers were Kobe's team, and he was alone on the mountaintop. The years that followed were a test of his will. The Lakers struggled, missing the playoffs, and critics questioned if Kobe could win without Shaq. His response was not with words, but with an offensive onslaught the league had rarely seen. He was a singular force, a basketball supernova. This was the period where the Mamba mentality was truly born and defined. It was a simple philosophy: try to be better every single day. The 4 a.m. workouts, the endless film study, the painstaking refinement of every single move. He wasn't just practicing, he was pursuing an impossible perfection. The stories of his work ethic are the stuff of legend, and they are all true. Teammates and trainers tell tales of receiving calls from Kobe at 3 or 4 in the morning, asking to work out. He would often hold what he called the breakfast club workouts, starting before sunrise, completing a full session of weights, cardio, and encore drills before his teammates even arrived for the official practice. There's the famous story from the 2008 Olympics, where his teammates found him drenched in sweat in the hotel gym at 5 a.m., having already worked out for hours. He didn't do it for show, he did it because he was pathologically driven to find an edge. But the Mamba mentality wasn't just about physical exertion. It was an intellectual obsession. He studied the game with the intensity of a scholar. He would read the NBA rulebook cover to cover to understand every loophole. He cold called legendary business leaders like Nike's Phil Knight and Apple's Jony Ive to pick their brains about leadership and design. He even learned to tap dance, believing it would help improve his footwork and ankle strength. He saw greatness as a puzzle, and he was determined to find every single piece, no matter how unconventional. And then came January 22nd, 2006. In a game against the Toronto Raptors, Kobe Bryant delivered a performance for the ages. He scored 81 points. 81! The second highest single-game total in NBA history. It was a breathtaking display of skill, endurance, and sheer willpower. He single-handedly willed his team to victory, proving that he could carry any burden. He had proven he was a great player, but he still needed to prove he was a winner on his own terms. The arrival of Pau Gasol in 2008 changed everything. In Gasol, Kobe found his perfect basketball partner, a skilled, intelligent big man who complemented his fiery demeanor with a calming presence. His relationship with Pau Gasol was a testament to his evolution as a leader. When Gasol first arrived, Kobe knew he needed to toughen up the skilled Spaniard to withstand the playoff battles ahead. He would challenge him relentlessly in practice, sometimes being brutally harsh, but it was a calculated test. After a key victory, Kobe once hung his Olympic gold medal in Pau's locker, a gesture that said, "Now let's go win one of these together." It was this unique blend of demanding tormentor and older brother that forged an unbreakable bond between them, the cornerstone of two more championships. Kobe revered the game's history and the rivals who pushed him. His relationship with Michael Jordan was particularly profound. He saw Jordan as the benchmark, the ghost he was chasing. He modeled his game after MJ, studying his every move, but he also developed a deep mentor-mentee friendship with him. Jordan became a big brother figure to Kobe, someone he could call at any hour for advice. With his own generation of rivals like Allen Iverson, Tracy McGrady, and later LeBron James, there was a fierce competitive fire on the court, but an undercurrent of deep respect. They knew that in Kobe, they were facing a competitor who would demand their absolute best. The Lakers were back. They reached the NBA Finals in 2008, only to suffer a heartbreaking defeat to their arch rivals, the Boston Celtics. Once again, failure became Kobe's ultimate motivator. He carried that loss with him every single day. The following year, he was a man on a mission. He led the Lakers back to the finals and defeated the Orlando Magic, capturing his fourth championship and his first finals MVP. He stood on the scorer's table, arms outstretched, soaking in the vindication. He had done it, but one more challenge remained. A rematch. In 2010, the Lakers and Celtics met again in a brutal, defense-first 7-game series. In a decisive Game 7, Kobe had one of the worst shooting nights of his career, but he refused to lose. He grabbed 15 rebounds, made crucial free throws, and trusted his teammates. The Lakers won. It was his 5th title, the one he said meant the most. The later years of his career were a battle against Father Time. Injuries began to take their toll. The most devastating came in 2013 when he tore his Achilles tendon. It's an injury that has ended careers. As he sat on the court, you could see the pain and frustration in his eyes. But what did he do? He got up, walked to the free throw line, and sank both shots before limping off the court. That was Kobe. After 20 grueling seasons, all with a single franchise, he announced his retirement. But he wouldn't go out quietly. In his final game on April 13th, 2016, he gave the world one last masterpiece. He scored 60 points, leading a furious comeback victory. It was the perfect storybook ending to a legendary career. Mamba out. But retirement for Kobe wasn't about rest. It was about attacking the next chapter with the same intensity. He launched the venture capital fund, opened a media company called Granity Studios, and became a storyteller. His post-basketball life was a whirlwind of creativity and ambition.
Granity Studios wasn't just a business venture, it was a mission. He was passionate about creating stories that would inspire the next generation of athletes to be the best versions of themselves. He delved into writing, producing, and creating content with the same fervor he had for basketball. He authored the Wizenart series, a young adult fantasy series with a basketball theme aiming to teach life lessons through storytelling. He was building a second empire, not of points and trophies, but of ideas and inspiration. His short film, Dear Basketball, based on the poem he wrote to announce his retirement, won an Academy Award. He had reached the pinnacle of two different mountains. He was proving that the Mamba Mentality wasn't just for basketball. It was a blueprint for success in any field. Most importantly, he was a father, a dedicated girl dad to his 4 daughters. He coached his daughter Gianna's basketball team, passing on his love for the game to the next generation. This fierce competitor had transformed into a loving, doting mentor. The transformation from the NBA's most fearsome competitor to a doting girl dad was perhaps his most profound. He embraced fatherhood with his characteristic all-in approach. He learned every line to Disney songs, attended every school event, and was a constant, loving presence in his daughters' lives. Coaching his daughter Gianna's team was a source of immense joy for him. He saw in her the same passion and curiosity for the game that he possessed. He wasn't just teaching them basketball, he was teaching them about life, hard work, and the power of dreams. He often said that his wife, Vanessa, was the foundation of their family, his rock who allowed him to be the man he was, both on and off the court. Tragically, on January 26, 2020, the world stood still. Kobe, along with his daughter Gianna and 7 other precious souls, was gone. The news was incomprehensible, a collective shock that rippled across the globe. It felt impossible that a figure so full of life, so dedicated to maximizing every second, could be taken so soon. So what is the legacy of Kobe Bryant? It's in the 5 championship banners hanging in Los Angeles. It's in the jaw-dropping highlights and the statistical milestones. But it's so much more than that. His true legacy is the Mamba Mentality. It's a mindset that has inspired millions, athletes, artists, entrepreneurs, students, to demand more from themselves. It's the belief that with relentless hard work, obsessive preparation, and an unshakable will to win, anything is possible. Kobe taught us that the journey is the reward. He taught us to embrace our failures and use them as motivation. He showed us that the greatest tribute you can pay to your dreams is to give them everything you have. He wasn't perfect, but he was always present, always pushing, always striving for more. And then that relentless pursuit, he became immortal. Kobe's impact stretched far beyond the borders of the United States. He was a global icon, arguably one of the most popular athletes in the world. Having grown up in Italy, he had a unique international perspective. His fluency in Italian and Spanish allowed him to connect with fans on a personal level. In China, he was revered almost as a deity, with a massive and passionate fan base that followed his every move. He was more than just a basketball player. He was a global ambassador for the sport, inspiring millions from Beijing to Barcelona to pick up a basketball and chase their own greatness. To truly understand Kobe, one has to embrace his complexity. He could be a difficult teammate, demanding a level of commitment that few could match. He could be stubborn, relentless, and unforgiving, but it was never personal. It all stemmed from an unwavering belief that greatness required sacrifice, that comfort and championships could not coexist. He pushed others because he pushed himself harder than anyone. The same fire that could burn his opponents also forged an unbreakable loyalty with those who earned his respect. He wasn't just a champion, he was a force of nature who elevated everyone in his orbit. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Legacy. The Mamba story is a reminder that heroes come and go, but legends never die.